Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. So in the last video what we have seen the part number 1 for this question, right? The question was basically this was the question which we were taking and we had seen the first part for this question. Now today we are basically gonna see about the second, third and fourth parts. Okay, we are just gonna see that basically how to solve this B, C and D, these three parts of this particular question. So just let me quickly revise the question, that what was the question asking from us. So it was saying a study involving stress is done on a college campus among the students. The stress score follow the uniform distribution with the lowest test score equal to 1 and the highest equal to 5. Using the sample of 75 students, find the probability that the mean stress score for the 75 student is less than 2. So we have completed the part number 1, right? Now the part number 2 says the 90th percentile for the mean stress score for the 75 students. So we need to compute the 90th percentile for the mean stress score of the 75 students. Fine. So what were the things that we just computed from the question? So we had taken the small x and that is equal to let's say x is equal to 1 stress score. We were knowing the value for n, that is 75. Okay, so we were given that value. Fine. So it was that since the individual stress score follow a uniform distribution x equal to approximately u 1 comma 5 where a is equal to 1, b is equal to 5. Okay. Fine, so we just computed the values for mu x and sigma x. Okay, then we just solved the very first question. Now let's move towards the part number 2, problem number 2 of this particular question, right? Now, what I need to find is that I need to find the 90th percentile. So here I would just write let k is equal to 90th percentile. 90th percentile. Fine. I need to find that. Before that, I would just make the graph for it. So what I need to find is that let me just go a little down so that see what line did I have made. Okay, I need to go down, I guess. Yeah, and I need to just use the eraser. It will not just work from the controls. That's fine. Right. So what we were just doing, we were just making the graph for it, right? That how we are just gonna make that thing. So if you are just like, as I just mentioned previously also, and now also I just mentioned the same thing, that if you're just following my previous graph, then in these questions you need not, like, you will not need my help. Okay, you will just do all the things on your own and very correctly also, right? So this is the probability for x bar is less than k and which is equal to 0.90. So we were having 90th percentile, right? So that in that case it is 0.90, and here I would just write as 3. Let's say this is okay. I would just take a little, let's say this is k, okay, and let's say this is x bar. Fine. All the things I just made, I need to just go down. How did I just come here? Fine. Okay, that is finished. So here what I just need to do is that I need to find k. I need to find the value for k where probability of x bar is less than k, which is equal to 0.90. Now basically how to find this k, we had already seen that how to find this probability previously, right? So I would just not repeat that steps here again. I would just write the final answer. The final answer for k you would be getting as 3.2. Now go to any of my previous questions. Basically you can just follow the questions for the percentiles, and in that I had already told you how to find the percentile if it is given that thing, right? So the value for k would come as 3.2, right? So from here I can just conclude the 90th percentile. I can just write the 90th percentile for the, and just let me now go down, the 90th percentile for the mean of 75 scores is about 3.2, right? So this is the value which you will be getting when you have just found the value for k, that is 3.2. Fine. And from here what we can just find, we can just find the inverse normal. Okay, so INV NOR in bracket I would just write the value 0.90. This 3 was the value for mu x, mu x, and 1.15 value was for the sigma x which we have found it, and this was under root of n, right? So when you're just going to solve, this is equal to 3.2. Fine. So this is basically finding out the percentage. So I have not mentioned the steps here because we had already seen that the steps many a time, right? So there is no need for repeating that things again and again and making the videos long, right? So I just not repeat that steps again here, right? Now moving towards the problem number 3 and problem number 4. So problem 3 and problem 4. So for these we need to take something different. So for problem number 1 and problem number 2 we had taken x bar is equal to the mean x bar is equal to the mean stress score for the 75 students, right? Because we were just given the mean stress score in that, but now here in the question number C and D you will not find the mean stress score word anywhere. So that the problem number 3 asks me the probability that the total of the 75 stress score is less than 200, and problem number 4 asks me the 90th percentile for the total stress score for the 75 students, right? So now it is asking me the total stress score. So in that case we are just going to take the sigma, right? So for problem number 3 and problem number 4, here I would just denote this sigma x. Okay, now sigma x is equal to what? I would just give the values here. So sigma x is equal to the sum of the 75 stress. So sigma x is equal to the sum of the 75 stress score. I would just write here as score. So just let me quickly erase this small x and let me make it to the capital one. So yeah, and this one. So here the sigma x is equal to the sum of the 75 stress scores, right? So in this I have just written in the alphabetical format. If I just need to denote it, if I just need to use it write it using the symbols, so I would just write here as sigma and then x, right? So my sigma is looking a little bit of different. I just need to make it as a normal of sigma. Yeah. So sigma and then capital X. So sigma capital X was the sum of the 75 stress score, right? So sigma x is equal to, that means approximate equal to n. And now here I'm just gonna add the value. So 75 dot. Now this dot is not the decimal point. This is of the multiplication, right? Now just don't be confused in the multiplication and in the decimal. So 75 into 3. So what was my 75? That was the value for n. 3, what was the 3? 3 was mu x. That was my mean. So here I would just put a comma. Now I would just write underscore 75. That was underscore of n. Sorry, under root. Sorry, that's under root, not underscore. So under root of 75, that is the value for n inside the under root. Again, I would put that multiplication sign. This is a dot, not that decimal. Okay, just keep that thing in mind. And here I would just write the value for sigma x. So that is 1.15. I hope by the time you all must be familiar with the notations and all that things very carefully, right? Because we have just used these things many a times in our videos. I have just repeated the same things, right? So by the time you all must be familiar that what is this mu x, what is the sigma x, what is this root n, what is this n and all that things, right? Now here comes the problem number 3 which we need to solve right now. So let's quickly move down and let me take a little bit of a space this side, and now I'm just going to write the problem number 3 here. So just let me write that problem 3. Fine. Now what is my problem 3 asking me to find? So my problem 3 is asking me to find the probability of and I just need to remove this sigma and make it clear. So sigma x is less than 200. Quickly go to the question. Just let me quickly show you the question so that you just do not face any problem. So what is my problem number 3 asking for me? The probability that the total of the 75 stress score is less than 200, right? So there, this is the reason that I just wrote here, probability of sigma x is less than 200. Fine. Now here firstly I can just write the mean of the sum of 75 stress score is. So here I can just multiply the 75 from 3, right? So 3 was the stress score, sorry, mean which we have found it previously, and the 75 was the n, right? So n into mu x, and so that is gonna result me as the final multiplication as 225. Fine. Not now what next I can just do? I can just do the same thing for the standard deviation also. So I'm just writing a short form for standard deviation. So standard deviation of the sum of 75 stress score. Now I'm just not writing these whole sentences for me because I need to practice. I'm writing these things for you so that you can just get a proper idea that how to solve a question for the statistics if you just get this question somewhere, right? So you need to just write these steps and maintain the proper steps, maintain the proper the thing how you should just solve the question, okay? So standard deviation of the sum of 75 stress score. Now here is under root of 75. Now multiplied by 50. Sorry, that was 1.15, right? So now just don't be confused in this dot and the decimal thing, right? Firstly, and like between this and this under root 75.1, this is the dot, and now here I'm just putting 1.15. So this point is the decimal one, right? Don't be confused in that thing. So if like to remove the confusion, listen to my words very carefully, whatever I'm just speaking right now. So that will be resulting is the multiplication, and it will be 9.96, right? That's over. Now how to find the probability? I'm just not gonna again repeat that thing. So you can just find out, and that would be approximately equal to 0. Fine. Now I can just make the graph also for this thing right here, okay? Now how to just make that graph here? So just let me draw this line here, and yeah, line is something like this. Yeah, it is okay. And you all know that how we just draw the graph. So just let me make it my graph here, and here I would just, let's say here I would just put the arrow, and what basically it is representing the probability of sigma x less than 200. And here I can just give the value. So let's say it is 200, it is 250. Okay, so it is 2, not 250, it is 225. Just let me yeah, 225, and this is sigma x. Fine. Now, what I can just like conclude it from here. So the total the probability, okay, the probability. So I'm just writing a short form for probability. I'm just not gonna write the whole spelling, okay? The probability that the total of 75 scores. The probability that the total of 75 scores is less than 200 is about, I'm not writing finally, right? I'm just writing about, is about 0. Now what next I can just compute from here? So from here I can just compute my normal CDF, right? So I can just write normal and then CDF. Now here inside this I can just write the values whatever are needed. So now 75, now this 200 is the starting value, right? Then so that is the probability should be less than this much, so that is that 200, and that this is my 75 dot, it is dot, okay, not the point sign, it is dot. So 75 was my n and multiplied by mu x, and it is under the roots n, and it is multiplied by 1.15, right? So by the time you just be okay with the notations and where it is dot and where it should be the decimal, you should be knowing that thing, right? Now, so this is over for this question, that is problem number 3. Now I'm just not going to solve the problem number 4 again because it is the same as the problem number B. Fine. So you need to just in problem number B it was the mean stress score, and D it is the total stress score. You need to find that thing. So I'm not going to solve that thing here, okay? You need to solve that thing, that question on your own, and report the answer in the chat box whatever you just got that thing. Fine. So this is basically how you can just solve out the questions if you're just given the question for finding the mean and for finding the total. Basically you are just given a question for solving the uniform distribution, then this is the procedure which you should maintain. Now it is not that thing that you only find the mu h, you find the sigma x, and you just do not write this thing, because I was not writing these things for myself. I was writing these things to explain you each and everything very, very carefully, and I was giving you a procedure that basically this is the best procedure how you can just solve a particular question, right? So you should always solve the questions like this only, so that you will never face any problem while solving the questions. Fine. So I hope I just made everything very clear to you about these questions, that basically how you are just going to solve these questions, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye bye.